How is everyone doing? Where are you joining from? Are you healthy where you are? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, good. Yeah, I can hear you.
Good morning to you. How are
Good
you?
morning.
How was your
I'm
night?
very good. Oh, very great. And yes, oh, you
Uh,
are still you are yet to
yes,
sleep?
it's 2 p.m. 2:10 here. For people
Okay.
who are joining us, Dr. Olumide is calling in from Australia. It's early in the morning. I think it's about 6 a.m. or so
Yep.
where it's calling from. So you guys should help us thank him for waking up in the morning to do this with us. We're very, very thankful for the opportunity to talk to you. And I'll tell a little about myself, and I will do a little introduction based on the bio that I have, and we can get started. My name is
Okay.
Dr. Adiola Olubamiji. I go by Addy, and this is Quarantine with Dr. Addy. As you guys know, since COVID-19 happened to all of us, it's important for us to keep sane by connecting with each other virtually. As a digital enthusiast, my only tool to give back to our community is through digital means. And I have done what I can to continue to educate, to empower, and make sure that people are well informed about the opportunities available to them, whether through education means or really empowering you through your career competitiveness route. And in the last 5 months, we have dealt with different topics from immigrating to Canada and also look at options for migrating to the US. There has been a poll that we did about 2 weeks ago where I asked you guys, do you want to hear about Australia? And literally everyone said yes. So I went on my LinkedIn. I've been following Dr. Lumide's work for a while. And, you know, sometimes when I share those scholarships about Australia, I got them from him. So I felt like who else to talk to us if not a person like him who lives in the country, who can tell us firsthand, what does it take to live in Australia and have a successful life? In addition to that, Dr. Olumide is one of the scholars that I know that had the highest funding during their PhD degree. He won over $250,000 for a PhD degree. As you guys know, in Canada, if you get $50,000, you're a Vanya scholar. That is pretty much the highest you could get. So someone like him who had trailed this thing, he knows what it takes to win multiple prestigious scholarships. We thought it would be great to hear from him, tell us about all of the things that we need to know if we're actually going to move to Australia for a grad school. He is a grant officer at UTAS, research output, or he's a research output officer at UTAS. So he deals with grant writing. He understands what you need to do if you really need to win grants. So I felt like this is the person who is worthy to tell us how this would work. Dr. Olumide, we're very pleased that you accepted our invitation. And whenever you're ready, you can tell us a bit more about you, anything that you would like to us to know. And we will be ready to start asking you questions.
Okay. Thanks very much. I do appreciate that. I would just want to appreciate you for the privilege given to talk to your audience. You know, I was actually amazed when you sent a message to me that will I be available to talk to some group of people? I said, okay, that's a very good opportunity. I've been looking forward to, you know, communicate with you all this while. So it was just an opportunity for me to do that. So I so much appreciate that. And
Thank you.
I believe we're going to learn one or two things during this live conversation. So like she has rightly said, my name is Olumide. I completed my PhD right here in Australia. I started out 2014. 2014. I actually got about 3 PhD scholarship at that time. And then I just decided to pick the one of Australia. So coming down to Australia, it has been a very rewarding journey. Though, like any other relocation, if you are moving from one country to another, definitely you may be faced with initial challenge, because I was in another country before for my master's, and then I relocated down to Australia, and then by and large, it has been a rewarding journey for me. And during my PhD candidature, I think I got more than 8 grants altogether for my research, and it went well. And after before my graduation, I got employed by the university. as research output officer. I will just give you a brief information about that. Research output officer is all about publications. So, when you carry out research, you tend to communicate your research to audience, conferences, journal publication. So I was in charge of about three faculties. We call it faculties here. Three faculties, taking care of all the publications that comes out of the university, because we have to report to Australian government, and then Australian government, we, in return, give the university money back. So all these things are very, very important. We have to keep the record, So after, being in that position for a while, then I moved higher to research administration officer, which is research grant officer. So now I handle everything that has to do with grants, thousands or millions of dollars of grants. I help the academics to process that, guide them through, provide a kind of support on how they can successfully get grants. So when you came up with this idea, I said, okay, that would be a very good one to share idea together and see how we go from there. So the first question I will firstly ask is why Australia in the first instance? Why do you want to go to Australia? That is a very good question to ask anyone who is trying to come to Australia. One, Australia is a country with a very world-class education, like we all know, one way or the other. It's well reputed for all the universities. We have 40 universities altogether, about 3 private universities, but they are all ranked internationally. Not only that, the students here, we have over 500,000 international students in Australia. Yeah, 500,000 international students, more than that. So that makes it a very good environment. And just to let you know that Australia is the most diverse country in the world. There is no other country as diverse as Australia, because the foundation of Australia has to do with immigrants, all true. So there is no country you are looking for that does not exist in Australia. So that makes it a very good environment, for people to come and settle down, and from there you move on with your life. So being a world-class educational hub and then a multicultural environment, not only that, the cost of living is very, very encouraging. And then as students, you can work while you are learning. You are allowed to do that. So you can work if you're a master's student, you can work for 20 hours in a week. For PhD students, you have unlimited hours to work. And if you have family, if you have your wife or your husband, both can work, full-time, unlimited hours. So that makes it a very attractive, environment. And not only that, you have research and scholarship opportunities. Like I said, in my own case, I got 8 scholarships altogether. Grants, scholarship. And once you are qualified for any of these, you are awarded. There's no discrimination for that. Once you are qualified, you get it done. So for the scholarship, let's look at it from the scholarship perspective. There are a lot of benefits. Number one, if you get a scholarship to study in Australia, your tuition fee will be taken care of. At the moment, the tuition fee is about $38,000 per annum. So everything will be waived. Number two, you tend to get stipend, which at the moment, the current rate is about 28,000, almost 29,000, so to say. So you get that one too, depending on how you are able to meet the requirement. And then number three, you can get health insurance that takes care of your health issues throughout your study period. And then another thing you tend to gain from that is you can apply, for various opportunities, travel grants, research grants. All these things are all embedded, in your candidature. And then number four, you can you have access to what we call research cost. In this case, your supervisor provides everything you need. It's not that you have to use your money to go and buy any material or whatsoever. Even if you spend your own personal money to do any of such, the university will return that to you as soon as possible. So it's a very good place.
I have something to ask. So if you have kids and you're coming with kids,
yep,
does your kids get any coverage or any benefits or opportunities to be able to go to school?
Okay. So like me, when I came in with 2 kids. So
Yes, I can hear you.
okay. So my kids did not pay any tuition fee so far. But then that is for PhD level. And then if you are doing masters by research, the same thing. But then if you are doing undergraduate course and you have family, then you tend to pay for such. But for higher degree, you don't pay anything.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I've talked about the work as opportunity. Now, the next thing, which is what is very attractive in all of this, is the possibility of getting your permanent residency. Australia and Canada, they are like twin. They tend to model the same pattern of immigration. So wherever Canada is doing, somehow Australia tend to imitate from what I've observed. So in Australia, you have the opportunity, after your study, you have the opportunity to stay back. You have the opportunity to apply for your permanent residency. You have the opportunity to get your post-study visa. For PhD, you have access to 4 years post-study visa. For masters, you have 3 years now. But if you came in for master by coursework, it's going to be 2 years. Or undergraduate, it's going to be 2 years post-study visa. Now, with any of this visa, you can actually progress to permanent residency. Now, there are different pathways to the permanent residency. Currently, there is one going on that is called Global Talent Initiative. The Global Talent Initiative is the kind of permanent resident, is the fastest you can think of. I have a colleague that got his own within 2 weeks.
Wow.
No skill assessment, no IES exam, nothing of such. Because he studied here in Australia, he applied and got it 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks. In fact, it will have been a week.
Wow.
Why it was 2 weeks was because he was asked to go and provide, I think, police report. So that was what made it to extend to 2 weeks. If not, it would have been a week. So it's the fastest. They started that last year, November, and people are trying to apply now because, due to this COVID of a thing, Australia is trying to look for, skilled individuals that they can usually, just recruit and use to bounce back the economy. So it's a very good opportunity to get that one done. So the first one is the Global Talent Initiative. The second one is the migration pathway, which has to do with the state nominating you. Australia has 6 states and 2 territories. So any of those can nominate you depending on your field of study and if you meet the necessary requirement. And then you have another one, which is independent pathway. So you can decide not to be nominated by any state, because if you are nominated by state, you are bound to remain in that state for 2 years. And after 2 years, you can go wherever you want to go. So for those who are doing PhD, there is this added advantage, because by the time you finish your PhD in 3 to 4 years, you've already spent 4 years in Australia. So getting your permanent residency, you only need 1 year more to get your citizenship.
That is really cool.
Yeah. So they don't discriminate. Once you meet the requirement, you get everything. I know people have done that. In fact, when I started my PhD, a colleague of mine, we started together. He's a Nigerian. We started together. The following year, he got his permanent residency. And I still have someone also who got his own permanent residency almost a month ago. He's still doing his PhD. So the point is, once you meet the requirement, it's not until you finish your study before you can get it. Once you have what it takes, like the global talent, you just need your master's degree. But your master's degree, you must have a very good grade. You must have distinction. Or you are a PhD student who is about submitting your thesis within the next 6 months. So if you have any of those, then you can apply and you'll be granted. And the good part of it, the global talent, people in New Zealand can also apply. I know someone also who applied from New Zealand, and you got his the permanent residency. So it's just as simple as that once you meet the requirement. So I've talked about 3 pathways for the permanent residency: the Global Talent Initiative, the state nomination, and the independent pathway. So the independent, you are nominating yourself. So with that, you can stay in any of the states in Australia. But the one of state, you will remain in that state for 2 years. That is the agreement. And then, yeah, I think that is what we need when it comes to migration opportunity.
Hello, Dr. Olumide, you're breaking. I currently can't hear you.
Hear me?
I can hear you now. Great, I can hear you.
Okay, good. So now let's talk about the requirement.
So can I just chip something in? I want to ask the audience that if you have questions for Dr. Olumide, please start dropping the questions in the question box. Start dropping the questions so that when he takes a break, we will be able to go to the question. Please make sure to use the question box for your questions. Thank you. You can keep going.
Okay, thanks very much. So now let's quickly talk about the requirements to get any of those admissions. Now, Australia is very, very competitive with what I've said. So you know that it's going to be competitive. People are coming from everywhere. You have even US citizen, UK, they are trying to relocate to Australia and even change, their citizenship to Australian citizenship. So it's very, very competitive. So how do you now pitch your tent to make sure you meet the requirement? We have a couple of people from developing countries, from Nigeria and so on. So if someone like us can get it, anyone can also get it, as long as you meet the requirement. So for your bachelor degree, you must have good grade. 2-1, at least you should have that. That is very, very important. And if anyone has third class or second class lower, then you need to buckle up to be able to. You can be given admission quite all right, but then you may not have any of those benefits. So you may have to pay your tuition fee. Then for masters, make sure you have also very good grade. It's very, very important. Very, very important. You can be given admission with any grade you have, but then you may not be entitled to all these benefits you're talking about at the initial stage. But then when you finish your study in Australia, then you can use that to get all those benefits. But prior to that, you may not be able to get it. So when it comes to the admission process, you have 2 pathways also. Number 1 pathway is advertised project. If it's let's say you are talking about PhD or master's by research, you have advertised project, which is one of those things I've been doing all this while. So far, I've posted over 2,000 opportunities in Australia.
Wow.
So if you have any advertised project like that, you can just click the link, check the requirement. Do you actually meet the requirement? So I've talked about the academic grade in terms of having very good grade. Next thing is having IAS, test of English. Now, if I may ask some of us who are from Nigeria, is Nigeria English-speaking country?
Guys, there's a question out there. Is Nigeria English-speaking country? Yes or no? You have a quiz. You have a quiz. We're waiting for your response, guys. Is Nigeria an English-speaking country? What do you think? I saw yes. Somebody said no.
Okay.
Yes.
Somebody said yes.
2 yeses.
Ghana is 1.
2 no's.
No.
3 yeses. 4 yeses. 5 yeses.
Okay.
6 yeses.
So it's like people tend to think Nigeria is English speaking. To be sincere with you, Nigeria is not English speaking country. The only English speaking country recognized in Australia from Africa is South Africa. Every other country, they are non-English speaker. Now, when we talk of English-speaking country, that means English is the native language, not national language. So people tend to mix this up and say, why would they ask me to provide test of English? They will ask you to provide test of English because English is just our national language. It's our official language, not our native language. Native English speakers are Canada, US, UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand. These are the 6 countries that are recognized globally as native English speaker. However, South Africa, because you have mixture of white there, so it has been accepted as English-speaking country in Australia. Any other country, they are non-English speakers. So as a result of that, you need to provide test of English. But if you have studied in any English-speaking country or your means of instruction has been English language, like Nigeria, for example, you can be considered for an exemption. But I do advise people that if you want to be competitive, get your Higis. Get your Higis. That shows that you are above board. It's one of those things that can make you to, stand out among multitude. So it's important you get that one done. And then another thing you need to put in place is know what you want to study in terms of your research or whatsoever. You need to know what you want to study. So if a project is advertised, you have your result, very good result, your transcript, your certificate is ready, and then you have your test of English, then you are good to go. You just need to apply and see what comes out of it. Now, don't forget, it is very, very competitive, very, very competitive. When I applied for my PhD, I think we were 123 that applied for that scholarship. And I was able to get it because I make sure I put things in place. I prepared ahead, which is another thing I will emphasize here. You need to prepare ahead of time. It's not just waking up overnight and say, I'm going to Australia. I want to apply, get admission tomorrow, and then come to Australia. No, you need to prepare ahead. You can give yourself 1 year and use that to get all those things ready, and then you can apply. So advertised project is usually good because you know what you want to study straight away from the onset. Unlike unadvertised projects, you have to look for topic yourself and so on and so forth like that. So I've talked about the advertised project. So let's quickly look at the project that are not advertised. So in this case, you just go to the university website, any of the university you are interested in, you just go there.
Doctor, can I add something before you go to the next one?
Okay.
I want to say this to the audience, that it is important for you to plan. It's important for you to not rush things, right? So we're ending the year 2020. It is important for you to take stock of what is it that I want for myself for 2021 and start to put in place the necessary steps, right? If IELTS is a requirement, this is the time to plan towards when you want to write it if you want admission for September 2021. Especially for PhDs, you don't need to have applied now because these positions will always come up. But do yourself a favor and spend some time to plan. Spend some time to really gather what the basic requirements are and get them in place. If it's required that you do IELTS, instead of trying to write a rebuttal and say, I'm Nigerian, you should waive it. Why can't you go ahead and plan for it and get it done? If it's important that you put your papers through World Education Services, I think this is the time to plan it. If a transcript will be required, if you are from a school that takes 6 months for that to happen and you want to apply to multiple schools, it is advisable that you send that transcript to World Education Services. Every time you need a transcript, World Education Services will send it to that school. Make a plan. Make a plan. I want to admonish you today to make a plan towards September 2021 and start working towards that plan. You cannot see me post a position now and say you want to apply for that if you don't have all of these things in place. Make a plan because opportunities has to meet preparedness. If you're not prepared, an opportunity shows up, you will just get stressed each time opportunities show up. So challenge yourself to draw the plan and go get each of them done. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much for adding that. Let me just say this. It took me 2 years to plan coming to Australia. 2 solid years. Someone was surprised when I said a year. Yeah, it took me 2 years. I started planning as far back as 2011, and then I relocated eventually 2014. So it's not what you just wake up overnight until you want to leave for Australia. You need to plan because it's a very competitive environment in terms of getting the admission. So you need to plan ahead, as she has emphasized. Now, you may not necessarily do educational assessment like the one you have in Canada. It's not required here. But then if that will help you in having your transcript to be sent down to Australia easily, like she said, then go ahead and do that. But make sure your transcript is ready. And then if you are coming from Nigeria, you have work to do. Why do I say that? A lot of people have done some bit of damage to our, identity as a country. So if you are sending your transcript from Nigeria, then there's a caution on it because they want to make sure you are sending it from the school itself because some people have already, manipulated all these things. So it's important that you put everything in place right from the beginning so that you don't get stuck at the end of the day. So make a plan ahead. What are the things you have now? What are the things you need to also put in place, and then you start working towards getting them done. So this will really help you when the opportunity comes around. So I've talked about advertised project. The second one has to do with you going to the university website directly and look for those available opportunities. Now, that's what we call expression of interest. Expression of interest in this sense means you send you fill a form, not sending now, you fill a form saying you are interested in doing this kind of program with the university. So what the university does now is to look for someone who is also in that specific area of your interest. Then both of you will be merged together, and then communication will start from there. So once the communication is well established, then you can put up your formal application, being supported by that academic. Now, the disadvantage of that is it takes time to get that one done because you may not eventually get someone who is ready to take you up. But the advantage is that if you apply, you have higher chances of being offered the scholarship or the grant, as the case may be. Compared to advertised projects, that shows the project is available, the supervisor is available, the funding is available. So all those ones are in place already. But the one you have to go to the website, submit expression of interest, that takes a longer time to establish. But in all, you can still achieve any of those. And then for those who are in nursing, one thing about Australia is if you have your first degree in nursing and you've practiced for a while or not in your country, you can actually come here and apply for a 3-month program, and then you will be licensed to practice nursing in Australia. And Australia needs yearly about 26,000 nurses. So these
Dr.
are some
Lumide,
of the
help me
opportunities.
repeat that. I need to tweet that to Twitter. People need to know. The nurses need this information. Please.
Okay. So Australia needs more than 26,000 nurses yearly. And if you are a nurse in your previous not your previous country, if you are a nurse in your country, you can actually apply to Australia, and you just undergo a kind of 3-month semester training, and then you will be licensed to practice in Australia.
I need the number again. Needs how many people yearly?
About 26,000.
26,000 nurses yearly.
It's actually more than that. I'm just averaging it to 26. It's more than that.
So there is a 3-month program that you can come for.
Yep.
And after that, you will be able to get your license to practice.
Yep. So you just apply for that 3-month program. Once you're admitted, you pay the money, then you are trained, and then you continue as a nurse, registered nurse in Australia. And with that, you can apply for permanent residence.
This is very
So
exciting. I'll be sending all the nurses I know there.
Yeah. So the opportunities are right there. But it's just that many people do not know.
Wow.
Many people do not know. Because Australia will not make noise of such, because one thing they are trying to do is to train the nurses, domestically. But then those who can make use of the opportunity can. Architects also have a very good stand in Australia, because Australia is trying to build the whole economy, and building is one of the major means of Australia economy. So architects, they are really doing well here, even pharmacists, and also, of course, medical doctors are doing well. Medical doctors, those who are medical doctors can actually apply directly to Australia to get their skills assessed. So they have to sit for exam. If they pass the exam, then they just get a visa and come into practice. So there are a couple of people that I know who have done that.
For the architects, is there any, is it also a 3-month program? Is there anything you can provide us?
No, they don't have that short pathway.
Okay. So they get a master's, but
maybe a master's.
It's a lucrative field for.
Yeah. But the one of nursing, that one is 100%. I'm sure of that. 3 months, 1 semester, 3 to 4 months. So once you are trained in Australian system of nursing, then you get a license and you start practicing in Australia.
I am smiling because I wish I know an immigration consultant for Australia. The person is going to be very rich, because I know a whole lot of nurses who are looking to Canada, but we don't have this type of shorter pathway. So this is way better than what we actually have in Canada. And Australia is English speaking. There is path to permanent residency. This actually literally blew my mind. Thank you for sharing this.
Yeah, so the program is called International Registered Overseas Nursing Program, IRON, or you can say ION.
Okay.
You can just Google that and you get information. Very straightforward. So it's just a semester program, 4 months, 3 to 4 months, just to integrate them into Australian system of or health system, and then thereafter they can just get a license and start practicing in Australia.
So it's called International Registered Overseas Nurses?
Yep, program.
Okay, thank you.
We have a lot of people coming from India using that pathway.
So please tell your cousin, that's your cousin who works at Lute, that's your sister who is a nurse in Ghana. Please tell them that Australia could be the place for them. And we have over 50 questions in the question box. We want you to take some of them, but we really like the structure. So we would like you to continue. Okay. I will start to review the questions. And if I see anyone that is relevant to what you're talking about, I will stop you to let you help you answer it. Thank you.
Okay. So we've talked about why coming to Australia, the kind of quality education that you have here in Australia, and the opportunity for funding, for grant, and all sort of things, and the migration opportunities. Some of these things I've said, I am first-hand beneficiary of it, not just something someone just look up from the internet. I've benefited from all this.
Dr. Olumide, there's a couple of questions on IELTS. People are asking if there is a band that is the minimum requirement.
6.5.
6.5. So,
but I will advise, try to get 7.0 or true. If you can get that, you're good to go. You're good to go. With 7.0, you're good to go. Someone asks if veterinary medicine has prospect. Yes. Yeah. A lot of prospect in Australia. Anything medicine is hot cake in Australia. Anything medicine. Pharmacy, nursing, all those medical fields, even medical lab scientists. Medical lab scientist is another area. Let me just say one or two things about that. They have a kind of pathway. You can apply for the exam wherever you have, but there's a specific place you have to go and write the exam. And once you pass the exam, you have the license to practice in Australia. And with that,
I'll have to ask you to repeat that, because that is a field that Nigerians who have that, and they're wallowing away in poverty back home. So please, I need you to help me so I can type it out and tweet it. Thank you.
Okay. So if you're a medical lab scientist, you can write Australia exam relating to that. And once you pass the exam, you will have the license to practice in Australia. And there's also a fast pathway to permanent residency with that. So I know a couple of people who came. If you are any science student, you come to study medical lab technology. Now they call it laboratory medicine. And you can do that at master's level. With that, you are going to get Australian license and also be able to apply for permanent residency. So it's another pathway people are making use of.
People are asking about microbiology. Is that something that is interchangeable with medical laboratory science?
Sure. Yes. Okay. So, and then let me add this to the one of nursing. Yeah, I remember now. If you have any degree, I emphasize it, any degree, any first degree, you can come to Australia to study nursing at master's level. You will get master's degree and you become a registered nurse and you can apply for permanent residency. Any degree at all. Once it's a first degree, be it accounting, be it sociology, be it physiology or philosophy, any degree at all, you can apply to Australia for a master's in nursing program. It's called professional nursing practice. So when you apply for that, you will be trained to be a registered nurse. So you get a registered nurse certificate, you get a master's degree also. And with that, you can practice in Australia. I know people have done that. I know someone who did mathematics. She's now a registered nurse. I know someone who did accounting. So I'm talking from what I know.
This is amazing. I'm sitting here and I'm remembering that my sister studied biochemistry, and for over 5 years back home, she couldn't find a job as a medical lab scientist, and she was completely frustrated. You know, I know a couple of people who are they have masters, some of them have PhDs in biochemistry or microbiology. I will be doing a lot more research about this and really be telling people I know personally who are in this bio field or science laboratory technology area to really look at this. Thank you so much for sharing this. I am already very excited as to what is possible for our people. And I feel like information is really everything in this life. Information is power, for sure. Actually,
Australia is a land of opportunity. If you are just ready to make use of the opportunity, no matter what you might have experienced where you are coming from, if you are just ready to, get yourself on ground, you can start from zero level and become somebody. From zero level and become somebody without any assistance from anywhere, but you doing the right thing. Social workers, that is another hot cake in Australia. A lot of people doing social work, they earn good money. I may not be able to talk about salary stuff, but then I know they earn good money.
Is there a short pathway for it?
The short pathway I can say is that it's mainly a year program to 1.5 years. So with that, you can practice in Australia. But that one, it has to be do with master's level.
Okay, thank you.
But if anyone is interested in nursing opportunity, I think that one is a very good one. Many people do not know that. Even 6 years ago, I too did not know that. I too did not know that. Sincerely, I too did not know that. So, but then by virtue of what I'm doing at the moment, so I tend to know many of these things that are, latent initially. But if one can do the due diligence to search them out, the opportunities are right there. So it's a place you come, and it's a country whereby if you work for your money, nobody runs after you. You can live the life you want as long as you are not going against the law of the land. You are not being discriminated to get any of those things that are available to Australian citizens. Once you have the money and you are living a very good life, you are not involving in all these crime-related issues, you can do anything you want there and achieve anything you want to achieve. The opportunities are just there. So in summary, Australia is a land of opportunity, but prepare ahead to make use of those opportunities. And there are things you can apply directly yourself, even without going through anyone. Without going through, and make sure all the documents you are using, they are genuine documents. Australia with background check. Very, very good with background check. They can check every details of your documents unknown to you. So if you come up with anything phishing, you may just end up damaging your own opportunity of making use of that pathway. So engineers also, they have opportunity.
We always do.
A registered yeah.
I have a question,
registered
Doctor.
Engineer.
Somebody's asking that if you hold a Nigerian HND and you are interested in pursuing a research pathway, is that HND counted as a bachelor's degree for you?
Okay. Now, in Australia, HND is actually associate degree. It's equivalent to associate degree. But like I said, Australia is such a country that if you are ready, anyone can become anything in Australia. With that HND, you can actually apply. But what you can apply for postgraduate diploma. If such person apply for postgraduate diploma, which is 1 year program, once you are done, you are qualified to apply for PhD. Once you are done with that, you are qualified to apply. I know someone who did that. In fact, there's even an individual that does not have a degree at all. Doesn't have a degree at all. He only worked in the shipping industry, and then he applied. So they make use of his experience as his qualification. So at the end of the day, the MBA earned him graduate certificate, graduate diploma, and master degree. 3 certificates, 3 in 1.
So someone asked here that he was offered an LLM and found out that the 1 year master isn't eligible for postgraduate work permit. That what are his options?
Well, it depends on the program he applies for. Now, once you do a year program, you are qualified to apply for post-study visa. You are qualified to apply for it, but then it depends on the kind of program that you are doing. If you do any of these online courses, you can do masters wherever you are online. You are not qualified for that. But if you do it as a degree program, you are qualified for it. You are qualified for it, but mostly people are advised to make sure it's 1.5 years, so that in case there's any interruption in between, you can still have that year that is expected of you to have during the program. So the person, I'm not sure of the school that offered him or had that opportunity, but then the person can make use of it. It doesn't mean that after 1 year you have to leave Australia. No, there are opportunities you can make use of.
Hey, I want to ask you a little bit of economic question.
Okay.
There are different schools. You told us there are six provinces in Australia, and
Yeah.
I lived in Canada. We had the different provinces. Some provinces are better based on some professions. For example, if you are in agriculture, it's better for you to go to Saskatchewan. Before, when oil and gas was booming for us, Alberta was the home. Do you mind helping us point the audience direction-wise? Where do you think economically it is more booming and certain fields should look at? Where do you think also, if you have a family, where would be a good place for you to live? Where is the don't go or be careful there areas in Australia, so people can kind of take caution as necessary?
Okay, so let me start with the last one you said about where you can raise family. Fortunately, there is family where I'm living at the moment. Tasmania. Tasmania is an island state. We are completely separated from the mainland, completely separated. So for us to go to mainland, we have to take flights of almost 50 minutes, or you go by ship, which will take several hours. So Tasmania is a very good place. Tasmania has the best economy so far now in Australia. However, when you are talking of a place of diverse opportunity, New South Wales, where you have Sydney. Sydney is a very popular place in Australia. So New South Wales is very good. However, the cost of living there is very, very high. If you want to rent, let's say, a flat, a 2-bedroom flat, you may be paying almost around maybe $500 per week. Whereas if it is somewhere in Tasmania here, you can be paying $200. So you could see that difference. Now, there are regional areas. We have states, we have territories, and there are regions. Regions are the less developed places. Tasmania is an island state and also a region. Now, it's always advisable, if you want to come to study, target a region. The reason is because Australian government is focusing more on region now. They want to develop regional places. So as a result of that, there are opportunities given. In fact, there is a program currently on ground that any student who is ready to study in regional places will be given $15,000. If you're ready to study and stay there, you will be given $15. I mean, $15, yeah, $5,000 for 3 years. Australian government is offering that now. So I will advise regional places. Tasmania is a regional place. Northern Territory. Now, Northern Territory is a place that is a region, so to say, but the challenge there is we have more of Aboriginal people there. And their lifestyle is quite different from people in other parts of Australia. So it's a good place. So I'm not discriminating any place. It's a good place, but then I wouldn't want to settle there if I have another option. Western Australia is the richest state in Australia. So you have a lot of Africans, a lot of Asians in that place because you have prospect of job, you have a lot of opportunities available there. New South Wales, Western Australia, these two, and Victoria, where you have Melbourne. So those 3 states, they are wealthy states. There are a lot of people settled there. But regional places are much more advisable for educational purposes. That doesn't mean you can't get job. You can work and get job anywhere you are, as long as you are not the discriminatory type that will say I cannot do certain kind of job. No, if you are ready to work, you will get your job. in any of those places.
Okay, Dr. Olumide, as you know, back home,
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of times people who studied sciences and engineering, they don't publish papers.
Yeah.
And they still come out with good grades.
Yeah.
What is the chance of people like that when they're seeking admission? Is there something they need to do to increase their chances, or publication is not used as a yardstick for maybe master's or PhD application?
Okay, publication is a general yardstick, but then if you don't have it, that is not a crime. I know people who do not have, and yet they have the offer given to them. So the most important thing is having a good grade first. And then publication is just to show that you have research capability. So the only way they can measure if you are able to carry out research is through your publication. And now Australia have introduced the use of master's thesis or undergraduate thesis. So if your undergraduate involve doing a project, they can use that in place of publication. So the university will just assess your project and see what grade you have in that. So if you are currently an undergraduate student, don't take that project lightly. Put in all your effort. Try to have good grade in that project, because that can be an opportunity for you to scale through scholarship or grants that you may want to apply for in the nearest future.
I want to add something there. So I've been talking to Dr. Olumide and asking how health is it helping. As you know, he's a consultant. He owns a consulting company. So one of the mistakes that our people do is this: they don't talk to us until they finish their program. Now, after you have finished your bachelor's or master's, and then you come to Dr. Addy and ask, I need admission. I want you to realize that is not when you need us. When you need us pretty much is when you are in school. That is when you need a mentor who will help you figure out, okay, should you do a thesis-based study, or should you do a paper-based or a manuscript or publication-based thesis? This way, you can end up with some sort of publication. Don't wait until you finished it. You haven't published anything. You didn't publish your thesis, and now you want help, and it's already too late. I want to mention that Dr. Olumide's consulting company, they have a service where they help you with plagiarism. So let's say you're writing your thesis and you're wondering if it's plagiarized, you're wondering if it's adequately written and can be published on a domain. You can employ the service to help you look through what you have. Some of you actually have graduated. Your thesis can still be checked for plagiarism so that you can be able to put it on academia.edu or other places. So I will be asking for information about that program and post it on Twitter and everywhere so that you can take advantage of that. I want to still repeat this again. If you're doing your master's degree right now, or you're doing your PhD right now, this is the point when you need a mentor to help you put together a plan. This is what you should do to make you competitive for where you want to go next. Don't wait until you're finished that master's. There was no direction. There was no tweaking to make it fit into Australia. And now after you finish it, you want to now say, I want to go to Australia. Make it easy for yourself. Whether it's a PhD that you're doing or a master's, talk to someone, talk to a mentor, figure out what you're doing. How does it connect to where you want to go? Are you writing a paper-based thesis? How many papers are you writing? Or if maybe you don't even plan to write any publication, but it's actually possible to extract one. A mentor will help you figure out that plan and make you competitive for your next level. So I will share information about the services offered by his consulting company for anyone who may need it. You may be doing your PhD right now or your master's and struggling with plagiarism, reviewing documents and making sure everything is good. I'll post that service. Anything else that you want to share on that front, Doctor?
Okay. It's very important that you plan ahead. It's just the emphasis of the whole talk today. Now, for publication, if you want your publication to be considered for admission purposes or grant or scholarship, you need to prepare having 2 publications at least. 2 publications. And there are journals that are predictory. They are not good journals. So we have system of knowing those fake journals. So if you are ready for such kind of thing, we can guide you through the kind of journal you should look forward to. And then how you can actually program your or prepare your manuscripts and then get it published in a very good place. But it's very important that if you have the opportunity of publishing your projects, try to do that. Anything you can do to make you competitive, go ahead and do it. If you need to publish, as at the time I applied for my PhD, I think I already had about 20 publications. So I wouldn't be surprised if I got the admission, if I got the offer. Why? Because I've prepared ahead of time. I've prepared. And then I'm currently working on a book that has to do with all you need to know about the requirement to get admission and scholarship to study, not only in Australia and other places, all you need to have in place to get any of the available opportunity. I'm working on that. As soon as I'm done with the book, I will let Dr. Addy know, and then anyone who is interested can subscribe for it and get it.
Absolutely. Just share the link. I'll put it everywhere, all the mailing lists and everywhere. I think you are one of the most resourceful Nigerians have ever come across. When it comes to humility, you're very humble and you've achieved a whole lot for yourself. Guys, I promised Dr. Olumide that this program is going to be 1 hour and we're a little over. I want to beg for his indulgence if he will give us 15 more minutes. And I want to take 5 questions from what you have dropped here. If you have not put your question in the question box, put your question so that it can help us answer. One of the questions that caught my eye here is someone saying she has HND, she also has PGD, and she's currently doing a master's degree. And she's wondering if that master's degree is going to cover up the HND. And I'm asking on her behalf, if you're trying to apply for a PhD, and she asks all of those, is a master's going to be looked at, or everything is going to be looked at?
For PhD, what you need to apply is master's. That is the basic requirement, the master's. Then, if you have first class degree or 2-1, you can be considered. You can be considered. Thirdly, if you have postgraduate diploma, you can be considered for PhD degree. So in essence, all she has, they are all good to go.
Okay.
But in this case, the highest degree she has is what will be considered, which is the master's.
Okay, thank you. I've seen a couple of teachers. Teachers are wondering, is there a pathway for teachers to be able to migrate to Australia? Is there any faster route or any route at all for teachers? Thank you.
Okay. For teachers, that's a very big question for me to answer, in the sense that the standard of education in Australia is quite different from developing countries. So as a result of that, for now, they don't have any direct pathway than coming to do maybe a master's degree in education. And with that, you have the license to teach. I know a couple of Nigerians who did that, and they're teaching. So there's no shortcut pathway like that of the nursing program.
Okay.
They don't have that.
Well, thank you. I see a question here on, hold on. So people are really raving about 20 publications. I don't have 20 publications, Dr. Olumide. You are exceptional. You are a role model to all of us Nigerians. And, when we hear Nigerians applying for grad school, one of the biggest bottleneck is being told that our English is not good enough. And you're an example of what is possible with that English. With that English, you have produced this amount of scholarly articles out there.
Yeah.
I want to use this to encourage you, Nigerian scholars. I want to encourage you today that you may think your work doesn't mean a lot. You may think your work is not good enough. Let somebody help you to make sure that what you're writing can be articulated into a publication. I'm very sure that your work is good enough. Or maybe it needs a little bit of boost. But the efforts you have put in to create a thesis, I don't want you to throw that in the garbage because of the fact that you are feeling like it's not good enough. All of the different work that you do, somebody needs to read it. Somebody wants to reference it. Somebody wants to cite it. Please stop putting it down and throwing it away and believing that it's not good enough. Your work is good enough. I did my bachelor's degree in Nigeria, and I headed to Finland to do another bachelor's degree because I thought my Nigerian degree was not good enough. So I went to Finland for another bachelor's degree. And the first semester there, everything they were teaching me, I already know it. I know all of those things. And then I looked at, so they waived for me almost half of the program because I fought for it. Because I brought my transcript and said, look at what I did. And that wasn't even good enough for me. I used that Nigerian degree and applied for a master's degree right there to the best technical university in Finland. And I got in. I got in with my Nigerian degree that I thought was useless. The Nigerian degree that I got from OSU, and people say OSU is not good and all that. And I got to Finland before I could realize the quality of the education I have gotten. I want to encourage you, that young person who had gone through a Nigerian system and is every day frustrated with the school system and thinking your school is not good enough, your education is meaningless. Your education is not meaningless. What you learned is good enough. Just let people give you a little bit of help to package it and put it where it belongs. We deserve to create more people like Dr. Olumide, and I believe some of them are on here today. Looking at what is possible. I don't have 20 publications. I work in the industry. All my work are company proprietary information. They just pay me money. I would, you're even inspiring me now. I'm thinking about my life and I'm thinking I should be an adjunct professor again. I think I want to contribute to some scholarly work and some very good research. Guys, I don't know if there are other questions that we can answer. I've seen a lot about people asking about the mining industry. I think we will use the power of Google to find out a whole lot more about Australia. I think today is one of the most productive sessions that I have had because this is a country that I have no clue what is up to. I just love the place because they are very diverse and multicultural. If there is another place that I will move to, that is not Canada, I was thinking when I was moving that it was going to be Australia. And I must tell you, I applied to some of those schools. I also applied to New Zealand, but finally ended up in Australia. I want to ask, I know you're not an immigration consultant, but Canada has this express entry program where you don't have to come to school in Canada. With your foreign education, you can apply for a permanent residency and compete to go there. Is there any of such stream or opportunity for Australia, or is all based on you have to come to school first there before you can get that?
No, you can actually apply from wherever you are. So, for example, the global talent, you can apply wherever you are, as far as you can have someone to nominate you in Australia. But then there must be a kind of collaboration between you and that individual before now. I've had a couple of people contacting me and say, oh, I want you to nominate me. Yeah, nominating is not a problem because once you're a permanent resident or a citizen of Australia, you can nominate anyone. So nominating is not a problem on my part, but then we don't have any collaboration. I don't know you from anywhere. Only for you to just send email to me and say, oh, nominate me. Now, I need to establish what kind of collaboration, what kind of relationship exists between us. Not even family relation now, in terms of profession. In terms of profession. So that is one. Then number two, the independent pathway is for anybody, anywhere. I have people who have done that. They apply from their country and they came in straight away to Australia. In fact, I have one of my lecturers who was just granted last month. So once you have the educational qualification wherever you are, and then you apply to that independent pathway, then once you meet every necessary requirement, you will be given. You'll be given. So the state nomination one is just an alternative in case someone could not meet those requirements. Then you can come to study here, and then you'll be nominated for it. So it's not only through education. You can apply independently.
This is our last question. It's from a medical doctor. What is the chance of a foreign doctor getting into residency program after passing the licensing exam?
Very high.
Very high. Did you hear that?
Very, very high. There are a couple of doctors here that I know. Couple of them.
Okay.
A lot of them.
Well, Dr. Olumide, it's been a pleasure hosting you on here today. Thank you very much for all the work you do. Thank you for continuing to share scholarship opportunities on your LinkedIn so that other people can benefit. Thank you for being a figure for all of us to look at. Thank you for continuing to support our community. I would be following up with you to get more information about the program regarding reviewing articles and helping people make the right decision regarding publishing their papers. I will also definitely be reaching out every now and then. Guys, you actually won me a new friend. Dr. Olumide has been on my LinkedIn for so long. I have just admired him, and I haven't reached out. So because of you, I took my shame in and went and approached him, and in the process, I gained a friend. It's been a pleasure, Doc, talking to you today. Thank you all for tuning in. We would put this video on YouTube, and I would also share it to you guys on social media if anyone wants to rewatch this session with his permission, of course. Doctor, is it okay if we put this on YouTube for people to watch? Thank you for giving 100%. Us permission to do that. Again, thank you. I know it's very early in the morning on Sunday for you. I wish you a very good day. And everyone, we have spent 1 hour and 17 minutes, and this is goodbye. Thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you again, guys, in 2 weeks.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Doc. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.